That's you, Kirk.
Okay, good morning. I'm Kirk Miller, and I'm going to present a little program, I guess, today. I wrote a letter to Yada in regards to some people who attacked our mission and attacked him personally, and I felt very strongly about it. And we decided that we would present this today for you, and I will be reading it and what I said, and then I'm also joined by Dr. Jeff. I think where's JB is down below, and also Kevin will be with us. So, I invite y'all to join in if you have a comment on each of the things. But I will be doing a little intro to begin with, just to set the tone of what I'd like to be speaking of. And also, then I'm going to give a quite an extensive list on some things that I've benefited from, and we have benefited from because we have listened to Yada and been and joined in and read his books. I wrote this yesterday. I stumbled upon a bizarre exchange yesterday, and I don't know Ann, but I do know Matt and his family personally. His family have shared their home and come to our home on many occasions for the festival feast of Yahweh, the seven Moed Mikra, the Moedim. I was saddened and somewhat stunned by the remarks posted. I must explain that I've been involved with this mission and my friend Craig Wynn for almost 2 decades. And as a result of reading Yada Yah, I shut down my gallery, I shut down my art school, I pursued a full-time study of Yahweh's words and to assist Craig in any manner that he saw fit. I moved to a less expensive area in Northern California, and I read, translated, studied the Dead Sea Scrolls, and eagerly joined him for the Shattering Myth radio programs. They were 5 days a week and 2 to 3 hours a day and a whole lot of preparation. I wasn't seeking anything financial, nor anything of any status. I was, for that matter, well, just for the record, I said, it cost me $2 million to make that decision. It was bad timing on my part, but I didn't care. So I'm pretty all in. I've had the luxury of Craig's time, of his personal teaching and guidance on all these matters of both of knowing and understanding the Torah, the prophet, and the Psalms. It has been a wonderful relationship, and I'm delighted that I had time to spend with him over the years. I've never met a more genuine or caring individual dedicated to this mission of presenting Yahweh's word to the world in general and to Yehudim and Israel in particular. I tell you all this because I'm deeply disturbed by the recent events and accusations accusations against my friend. Set the record straight. All of the ones claiming their love for Yahweh and that of their being a covenant member, and yesterday's attack and some previously before that, seem to have magically forgotten that they would not or could not become members of Yahweh's family without the books and the programs and the help of Yada. I have yet to meet one person who prior to Yada offered anything of value regarding Yahweh. So allow me to expose some of the stupidity of these comments and the ones that we run across from time to time. What I'm going to do, gentlemen, if y'all would like to, I've listed these in numbers. I have 1 to about 15 of them, and we could go on and on for that matter. But I will tell you what I said, and then if y'all have some comments, please, we'll pause and you add whatever you wish. The first one I said is, what is Yahweh's name, and how do you pronounce it? Well, quite frankly, you learned it here. Who is Yahweh's son? His Mashiach, his king, his beloved, his shepherd, his branch, his associate, his firstborn, his prophet, his Aroah, and his savior, and the one who is right, Tzedek. How does one approach Yah? What is the correct path? I remember as a Christian being taught that the path is narrow and few find it. Well, that's about the only thing that got right. Sorry. Uh, but what's the path? I didn't know until I started reading Yada Yama. I ran across something that the one thing that I did not even have a hope of knowing or ever figured out until I met Yahweh was what is the mitzvah? Who explains the terms and conditions? He explains the terms and conditions of walking that path, but where do you find them? And then once you find them, how do you proceed? Does Yahweh seek? And then number 5, another question or another statement. Does Yahweh seek a family or a relationship, or is he the Lord? But the first part of that, the relationship, I've never heard anybody talk really about a relationship that he was seeking. I've only been taught throughout my whole life about a religion, not a relationship. There's nothing in the Torah, Prophet, and Psalms that you will find about a finding God, being with God through a religion.
Kirk?
Yes?
Can I interject?
Absolutely.
I want to share your comments regarding the attack on Craig and Leah and Mission.
Yes.
As you state, it all begins with a name. The most precious Shem, important Shem in the universe. Not only is the name important, but we've also learned about how negation of his name and not knowing his name is the ultimate unforgivable crime that is absolutely unredeemable and unforgivable, and is codified in the third statement. In addition, we've also learned that all the nonsense mythology about saying the name, pronouncing the name, having it be to holy or choli is incorrect. I appreciate you letting me make these comments because the name is where it begins for most of us.
Well, further, I'd say, because I like the pictograph, I'm an artist, so the pictographs resonated with me more strongly than perhaps other people. But the first time I figured out how to draw it with a Yahweh Wahe, and you have that hand reaching down with an open hand, not a fist, reaching down with an open hand in order to lift his family up, or to lift up his message, to lift up his messengers. You can interpret the next 3 letters in any of those regard.
Yeah.
You have a person standing up there again. Their legs are apart. They're engaged in something. Their hands are reaching up to Yah in awe. You have the Wah, which is drawn as a tent peg, and it's kind of a V shape on a stick that holds down and expands, that you would use to expand a tent, a family home, and a bed. And then you have another hay at the end, which is also standing up and engaged in that. It can be interpreted in several different ways, but all of them positive and all of them about Yah. You cannot not have, you can't look at that symbol, those symbols, and not feel and somehow come up with Lord, someone who's oppressive, someone who's telling you what to do. Yahweh gives you free will, as we all know, and he's open to come to, open to walk to. In fact, he asked you to walk to him. So, everything to me, that key, I used to run around and write it all the time. In fact, Sylvia, who is now my wife, first time on a class, I wrote it on her palette. I said, you know what, because I knew she was Jewish, so I said, gee, Sylvia, do you know how to spell God's name? And she kind of looked at me funny, and I drew it out there in pictographs. And so, yes, it's the start. Obviously, it went somewhere, huh?
It went somewhere, but another thing that Craig taught us is we are not to bow down. We are
Yes.
to be lifted up.
Mm-hmm. And you're
Okay.
welcome.
We are to pronounce, proclaim, celebrate, and exclaim his name, totally against any type of religious, specifically rabbinical doctrine and teaching.
Yes. Very well said. Well, we've got a little bit more material to get through, so let's carry on. Uh, um, I would mention on the back part end of that statement, I asked the question about what is Baal and what is Baal, and everyone seems to know that they're the Lord. Can Yahweh be the Lord? No. He doesn't lord over you. He doesn't want to be a Yahweh. He's a father. He views himself as the head of the family, but who gives advice. In fact, I thought it was very interesting, and I would not have learned this until I started translating enough to, and I got very much involved in it, where you look at a word in a lot of the nouns, most of the nouns will have a verbal root. And when you see Torah, which they claim is law, and law is something you have to obey, lords always want you to obey something. That fallacy goes away because the verbal root that explains the word Torah means teaching. In fact, I used to have a little thing to remember it by it good instruction, teaching, guidance, and direction. That's what Yah was about, to bring his family home so we can all enjoy his presence and enjoy life. Anyway, what are the next seven moed? What are the seven moed mikros, and when and how, or is one? How does one respond to the invitations? I knew something about that there were seven moed mikra, but I'd never been able to read anything prior to meeting Yahweh that explained it in any kind of fashion that I could understand. So they were just because they're all under a big label of this is what you have to do. Here's something, as opposed to free will and wanting to do and wanting to be a chog, a festival feast. It was never conveyed that way to me. So that was on deaf ears until I met Yahweh. I met Yada and Yahweh through him. Who taught? I'm going to ask some questions now, further questions on just some obvious things on people who keep attacking this mission in Craig in particular. Who taught you that who taught you the 6,000 year timeline and every major point along the way that confirms prophetic declarations, proving that Yahweh is the Almighty God of the universe? Now, by that, I wanted to read the Bible all my life, not knowing what that word meant, but wanted to read the Torah, Prophet, and Psalms, obviously, and all the prophecies, because I was fascinated because these things that I had read had come true and were easily identified that was what he was speaking to. Prophecy proves that, I never had a problem like most of my generation in the hippie days where, is God dead or what? Is God really alive? No, is there a God? Not only that, he explains who he is and he tells you what's going to happen. So that was vitally important to me, but it was all confirmed here in Yada Yada, the first book. It was a fascinating read. I cried at the end of when I read the only book that was available then, Yada Yada. And I must say that, and then I finally dawned on me, you can turn around and read the other book. You didn't get it all. So I just kept reading that, and then along came the rest.
Yeah, Kirk, I agree with you so much on that. Who taught you the 6,000 year timeline? You have 2.5 billion people, Christians. No one will know the day or the hour. This whole mystic crap. Even with Paul and his rapture being wrong, it was for his time. We know it didn't happen. That kicks out Paul. Okay. And then you have rabbis being over 200 years off. These things can be known. I mean, the math can be done in Daniel. And I guess it couldn't. It wasn't until Yada unsealed it that the math in Daniel, all three of them, work out perfectly. To when the Toraless one is going to set foot in Jerusalem, to when Teruah happens, when Elia and Yada come back. I mean, to Dowd walking in and fulfilling Pesach Matzah B'Kurim at 33 CE, no one has ever been so specific, even to the day of, October 7th, 2023, 622 Jerusalem time. No one does that, has ever done anything like that,
No. Not to this degree and being accurate. I mean,
and with proof and with being able to show the work and say, if I'm wrong, prove it, show me where I made a mistake and we'll change things,
Agree. No.
It's like Craig's even said, it's all been there. Anyone could have done this at any time in the last 3,000 years.
Absolutely.
Nobody did.
Nobody did. What about the greatest discovery in humanity?
Yeah, we're going to get to that one in a minute.
Oh yeah. I'm with it.
Here's some things that struck me, and I wrote them down in this letter, open letter. Who explained to you the universe in 7 dimensions, and that Yahweh was a 7-dimensional being being in the 7th dimension? And how's Einstein's theory of relativity, the E equals mc squared, explain how those who avail themselves of Yahweh's offer will be able to transfer space-time and explore all these dimensions? That I'm not the science type. I was on the other side of the university studying art, but I'm fascinated by it. But it was too many numbers and too complicated to me on the chalkboards. But I will tell you, in physics and everything, that to see that explained and put together and in real terms that anyone could understand just made the whole story. Remember, he's telling the story. Yahweh's telling this story, and Yahweh's putting it in words for us in English so that we can understand what's going on. And that is just, I just, all the things he would do every week, every day almost, I would go, wow. So another thing, who wrote the greatest counter argument in validity to the validity of argument against, I guess, the validity of all religions, and particularly the rabbinic Judaism, Christianity, and Islam? Well, I'm blown away. See, I was very happy when he wrote Questioning Paul, the first edition. I said that blows him out of the water. So, I mean, I didn't have to hang any Christian garbage. Absolutely was thrown away by that time, but that just put icing on the cake. And then you look at Christianity, all these volumes and goddamn religion, and you go, wow. If you want to sweep up your house, if you want to throw this crap out of your house, this is the place to come to. This is the great sweeper.
And who else has documented that the 3 quote unquote Abrahamic religions are invalid, belong in the dustpan, and by the way, were instigated, created, and propagated by rabbis?
Yeah. That's the heck of an indictment, isn't it? My goodness.
Yeah.
The interesting thing that another biggie for me, and then y'all can, and when we get a little further down, y'all, or in between, y'all add whatever you choose to. But yeah, the thing that was interesting to me is y'all explained that Moshe taught the children, he put it in this context, taught the children of Israel by enacting Pesach Matzah B'Kurim when he came out of Mitzrayim to the Promised Land. Yada discovered and not being able to keep it a secret, as we all know, told us that Dowd fulfilled Shag Matzah in 33 CE. That is a monumental thing. I mean, that dismisses. See, I always had a problem with. I thought it was somebody that got crucified, this, that, and the other, and then it had to be somebody, and but we didn't put it all together, and I know why he didn't bring that out even earlier, his discussion about it, but then it was obvious that it was Dowd because the 22nd he's the 22nd Psalm. He's describing in detail 700 years. We find later 700 years before even the Romans had invented crucifixion. So all those events are all related to Dowd. Dowd was the man, and that to me is the greatest thing ever. I'm just blown away by that every time I think about it.
It is, and that's reinforced in Mizmor 88, Yashayahu 53. It basically dispels the greatest lie ever foisted upon humanity, which continues to this day.
Yes.
It continues to this day. And in terms of coming to that conclusion, it makes all the sense in the world about how Dowd has to be the Messiah, the Savior, as Bikurim Hazaral, the firstborn, how the Son's soul and spirit had to return Shemayim.
Yes. No. You know, the next question I put down here on the was to who brought this valuable information to us, and so that we could benefit from it. Well, obviously that's Yana, but here the turn of another angle on that is, and what value would any of this information have been had he not done that? If he didn't volunteer for this mission, he's the third part. That's why he's the third Zeroah.
Yes.
You know, one had to give it in real time and save the people and take them back home. I don't remember him telling them to go down to Egypt, to be honest with you, but not full time. But anyway, they got down there, and then he brought them all out, and then Dowd saved them and reconstituted them and put them all together as a family unit. And then he paid the ultimate price to get their souls, because ultimately, as you all know, and is that the soul is the most important thing to live eternally. It's not going to be our body. But without Yada, the third Zeroah, what have you got? We've got nothing.
And as a comprehensive package, okay, a comprehensive package of not just, by the way, Dowd's the Mashiach. Dowd was crucified in 33C, and this proves that. But he disproves, takes you out of Mitzrayim, just like Moshe did. Okay, takes you out of the house of bondage and slavery, showing you how and why you leave Christianity, Islam, Judaism, whatever your thing is. Okay, a comprehensive body of work that does that for you, removing you from Mitzrayim and then taking you through the mitzvah, those steps with through Dowd. Okay, it's his journey, being the third Zeroah. That whole point is it's the comprehensive package, because any one of the insights that we've talked about earlier on their own are fantastic, but go nowhere without the larger comprehensive package of it all. You know, the systematic distribution and understanding of the whole story, you know, and we're still getting more of the story. So
no,
how about the fact that Yada is also Medad? That okay,
Mikhail, yes.
I like to kid around with Craig. He's aged pretty well over the 34, 50 years, so he's doing okay. But Dowd and Yada were there because Moshe was unable to do it.
Yeah.
Dowd was unable to do it.
Yeah. That's an eye opener, isn't it? Wow.
So
they just gave up. Well, Israelites and Yehudim, Yada didn't give up, and here we are. So,
no, and the other point which you also bring up and you'll discuss is something as a Yehud that I find particularly offensive, despicable, disgusting, and outrageous, is that Rabbi will charge you a fortune for everything, from circumcision to burying you.
Mhm.
I refer us back to Yashia, Isaiah 55. Craig has done this for almost a quarter century, free of charge, as Yah expects it to be done.
Mhm.
Not just free of charge, at great expense to himself.
Oh,
Exactly.
He invested
The
millions in this.
great point. Great point, JB. The opportunity cost is extensive.
mhm. The billions of people, went on to say, billions of people have died over time, and these people had souls. Which, what happens to those souls? Um, every religion that I know of is a consequence of do what I say, and you get heaven or something glorious. Don't do what I say, and I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to throw you into hell.
The carrot and the stick.
Carrot and stick, absolutely. And he, Yada, documented and shared what the Torah actually declares, and that there are three, and I'll itemize them here. I know y'all know them, but for any newer people that may be listening, that death ends with no consequence to your life, and to your, I mean, when you die, and there's no consequence if you haven't worked against Yahweh. He doesn't care. He gives you free will. If you're not interested, go do whatever. But if you're fighting against his people or doing really harmful things to anyone, then of course, then you're subject to a consequence, and the consequence is Sheol. But there is eternal life for those of us who live the word and follow the mitzvah we were just talking about, the 5 terms and conditions. That's all he said to do. And then dive into the knowledge that we have in books called Shemar Torah, to study and study and study and listen and learn and go from knowing to understanding. And who explained that? I've never run across that anywhere else.
No.
I mean, in that context of 3.
Never, anywhere, absolutely.
No, I never have. And
That was one of the greatest blockers for me with all religion. Was it made no sense, the heaven hell dichotomy. That, yeah, if your religion had that, I was out right away.
mm-hmm. No, I get you. It is offensive, and you go, what? That doesn't seem fair. Yah was always fair. He set out the terms, and here it is, and this is the consequence. But I had never known what really was, or had it explained what Adam and Chawah got that made them different. I knew there were people before the garden. If we're talking 6,000 years ago, we have records that just carbon dating don't lie. We know there were people thousands and thousands of years ago. But what was helpful to me in my understanding along the way was when we introduced the fact that you have a nephesh soul, but you also have a nesama. And
Yeah.
the, of course, is your ability to judge right or wrong, to have morality, I guess would be a better term. But and that explained, that opened up the door to me on why, which was interesting. He talked about the Noah story. And in the Noah story, you have Noah and his family being saved. What happened to these people who knew Yahweh's name, and why did they turn so evil? Maybe there's a good story in there about what we keep experiencing with all these people. They actually knew his name. Well, it was explained by Yana that the probability is that if Yahweh does not do that, not probability, a certainty, if he doesn't wipe out that population and reboot, as he did with Noah and his family, this would have been a waste.
Yeah.
So, and that was extremely helpful on why an asteroid. Oh, asteroid's a good story too, but wait, we're never going to go home if we don't do this. So in any case, let me flip over here. Did you know prior to reading? I'm asking some questions to the general populace out there and to you guys, and of course y'all know. Did you know prior to reading and listening to Yahweh that the dimensions Noah was told to use in building the ark could withstand the surge of water, which would ultimately be caused by the meteor strike, which they know and found the Merkel crater, that's what happened. And that modern aircraft carriers used these dimensions to keep them afloat in the horrible seas. I thought that was fascinating. I mean, now ask this question to yourself. How did Moshe, who was a shepherd, I know he grew up in Egypt, but he was a shepherd out there, and all of a sudden he knows, I mean, if there's no God, he's the smartest dude I have met. Because he knows all this stuff and about ship design and so forth. He writes down all this ship design that proves to be better than anything anyone came up with ever. So I thought that was just, these little tidbits are just gems. I like them as just gems.
Yeah, there's kind of 2 points that are proof statements there. Number one, you wrote that Moshe sure was smart. I think you meant Noach for number one, knowing the dimensions. Okay.
Well, but Moshe wrote it down.
But Moshe wrote it down. You're right. Absolutely. So there's
we didn't know about Noach until Moshe wrote it down.
Absolutely, you're right. Yeah. So there's two of them there. That where did that information come from? Just Noach to be able to know to build it, and then Moshe to know what Noach knew to write it down.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, you're right. They found the ark. I mean, they found stuff that apparently that's the one. So right. I'll defer to those people, the scientists. And then I wrote down also before Yada, later James Bowen discussing the tools necessary to translate Hebrew to English. Hardly anyone that I know, anyway, and anyone that I ran across, knew much about the interlineary or a lexicon, and much less how to use them. Now, I have to, JB wrote this long thing on how to use it, and people have, and he has it on his site. I used his site all the time before we had a site. It was just wonderful site, and all the things that were in there, you could go back and forth and so forth. But the thing about the interlinears and all in translating, I don't do it quite that way because I don't have the computer skills that JB, I'm sure you're just like him. When I go down to see Craig, he's got this thing that looks like an airplane. He's got all this stuff, all these screens.
Triple monitor setup.
Oh yeah, it's just that I'm sure. Like I don't do well to that, but
in fact, even when I'm doing these shows, I've got the text over here, and I've got logos opened over here with all the translation guides. So you can look at it and like, is that right? Yep.
Yeah. I will say, JB, if I can interject, Kirk, that your skills, dedication, and acumen have been invaluable for the Covenant family. It's quite amazing, and we appreciate you beyond words.
Thank you. I do what I can.
Absolutely. Thank you, JB. I was kind of tickled to follow up on the next thing that I wrote was about ancient Hebrew pictographs. I know they were known because I got a book on them and so forth. There's some people who've done a lot of work and research on the things. But once again, every time you publish a book or a lexicon, you're going to have to tweak it to some degree because the only people that are going to buy your market, and your market is for Christians or Jews or whatever. Now, that once again tells you that they have to sell them to do what they do. Nothing is sold here. I've never given him a dime. He's never asked me for a dime. He does all this free. We always volunteer free. I mean, nobody's out to get your money. So,
But I'll stop you there.
okay.
I'll say that he's put in quite a bit of coin.
I'm sure he has. I can count. It's unbelievable.
Just to hire me. I won't get out of bed for $150 an hour or less. I work 70 hours a week.
Yes. I know you do. I know you do.
So,
I don't even want to know how
yeah.
much all the equipment
we
costs.
have a lot of skin in the game.
Yes,
Mhm.
man.
But he's got quite a bit of skin, and pretty soon the whole Bashar,
There you go.
the whole kit and caboodle. Mhm.
Yeah, he's putting up the most.
I gotta tell you, back, you can have a whole show dedicated to it, but Yashia 55, when Yah rails against what the rabbis do and how what he wants his children to know is freely given
Mm-hmm.
and should be freely given.
Yes.
Well, then it wouldn't make them rich now, would it? They
No.
wouldn't be driving Mercedes now, would they?
Right? Or making
They have to work.
Torahs that take a year on kosher parchment paper and then charging $50,000 for it.
50. That was 10 years ago. They're more like 80, 120,000 these days.
Real.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then
update your records.
Oh, I'll update it. And then dressing it up like a
Like a
prostitute.
whore? Mhm.
Yes.
Parading it around the room, kissing it as if they loved what it said.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Even though it basically calls them asshats. Mm.
Oh, and then taking their tassel, their tzitzit, and rubbing it up against the velvet.
Yeah.
It is perverse. Oh, we are a superstitious, hard-headed, knuckle-headed group, aren't we?
Let me. I'm sorry. No one interrupt.
No, please go ahead, Kirk.
The next statement in this letter was that Yashiyah Isaiah scroll is in the building in Jerusalem. And I didn't get to go to Israel. I got sick when I was in Asia, traveling around the world, and had to go back the other way to the United States. But I've never been there. However, I've watched the documentaries and I've seen books and pictures of everything. The Yashiyah scrolls without the vowel pointing, obviously, that was invented in maybe 1,000 years later. And the Isaiah scrolls are right there in the building. Anyone could go in there that reads Hebrew could go in there and read that stuff exactly from the Dead Sea Scrolls and from him. And it's probably actually from the last dating they did on it. They said it was around 2,700 years old. So it's probably the original scroll, not a second copy on there as well. So that's pretty incredible.
Wow. Today's day and age, you can go online and find it.
Yeah, well, I know, but I mean, even in my days, I kept saying, well, why don't they read it from that? You know, and so if you want to counter what he's, you can't twist it. It's right there in front of your face. And
it's so accessible that if you want a copy of the Great Yashiyah scroll, you could acquire one for yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
Yeah.
It is located digitally online at the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's located in a very beautiful building, and it's presented very beautifully in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
It's reprinted in hundreds of books.
Oh yeah.
It's accessible to everyone.
Yeah. I saw a show on it when they were touring through, and the thing was dedicated on that those scrolls there in that presentation. So it's a really pretty sign. Then I concluded this with, and I said that what you'll find if they would find how much Isaiah spoke of our time today, obviously, and also the Choda, the Nakra, Yada, who shared his scroll. What is that in about verse 17 and 18 when he talks mostly about Yah? Am I correct there?
11.
Oh, it's just, okay.
Where he goes, that's my guy. I was like, wait a minute, Yeshaya, he's my guy.
Yeah.
I'll share.
Yeah. What are you going to do, Leia, when you meet Yashia? You guys going to have a little talk or?
We're gonna get along fabulous.
Yeah. Everybody likes Yah. So, to conclude, and then we can go to wherever y'all want to, if you like. But I wanted to say this. Read this last page. I said what baffles me so much is the ingratitude of so many people who show up, and I assume that it's mostly just to satisfy their own personal agendas, and never so much as say thank you, and then they rebel and attack him. I find that horrible. And I wrote,
Welcome to the family. That's what it's like being in a broken family.
Yeah. But you've been offered so much. I'm writing to openly. You've been offered so much, offered to the gateway to the kingdom. You now know, and I just throw in a few examples. We now know that Damascus is in ruin. As Isaiah talked about, we know that the United States is the most, and most of the world will engage in a nuclear war, and 90% of the human will be a human rate kill of 90%. All the promotion of religion and politics and military malfeasance and oppressive economic schemes will end in 8 years. We've only got to 2033, and I wouldn't wait that long. So an awful lot of stuff is going to happen. It's deadly and disgusting. But and then I just said, now wait a minute. What do you think Yahweh will do to those? I'm addressing now that these groups of people that keep attacking. I don't understand why. Wait, what do you think that Yahweh will do to those who attack his children, his chosen voice, the last hope for Israel and the world's, and even the world's thoughtful people?
I know what he did to the guy who touched the cart that was carrying the ark.
Yeah, there you go.
Instant death.
Yeah. So.
And I know what it says about other people in similar situations within Torah that are given as an example for the narrative. And Miriam doesn't fare well. Shlomo doesn't fare well. There are many people in Torah who don't. They are the archetype examples. And I know plenty just like them.
I think, I think all of us do. I did conclude this, if I may, with a question, another question, or a statement, if you like. You spit on Yada, and you spit on Yahweh, and then you have a deal with Dowd when he returns. How are you going to explain why you attacked Dowd's shoulder, his herald in his right hand? If there's any fire you want to get away from, that's the one. Don't.
You would think.
Yeah, you would.
Honestly, you would. I don't. I have a theory. I don't think that certain individuals who know the truth, who come back around and soil it and turn it into something perverse and vile, even when shown the truth, they reject it. It's not just rebellion. It's the fact that they've never walked away from their religion, their culture, or their father's house.
Yeah.
It's that simple. You don't fulfill the minimum requirements to be in the covenant.
Well, that's number one. If you don't go there, you ain't got nothing.
The covenant, that's right. It's a very if this, then that situation.
Yeah.
All throughout Torah. You can cut yourself in, but you can very easily be cut out.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't it's not one Christian term, once saved, always saved. No. You always have free will. You can leave anytime you want. I did did a study one day, just when I was doing a lot more translations, and I looked up three names, and there was Abraham's name and his two brothers, and I found out that his two brothers, and I think both of them stayed in Mizraim. I mean, not Mizraim, in Babylon. But their names, if you look deep enough, you find out that one of them name means to be religious and to worship on a hill, and the other one is kind of what I call a couch potato. He doesn't care about leave me alone. And so I think Yahweh told us by those names alone. You've got one guy that walks away and wants to be with Yahweh, and the other two captive characters we're dealing with is the religious who are deadly, and the other one, I don't care, leave me alone, give me my beer. I mean, I like football too.
You just described the entirety of America.
I think so.
Yeah.
If not the world. So.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, that was what we can go wherever you want to from now, or we can conclude if you prefer. If you have what I did think you might, if you had certain things that hit you stronger than, and I didn't get a chance to mention them here because I know there's 1,000 insights. We're not going to do that. But if there's a couple that struck you, and especially in your early walk, when you said, "Wow, that is profound," that Yada brought to us through his books or through his speaking. If you want to share any of those, I turn the floor over to you. I appreciate just being here, joining y'all today. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thanks
for sharing. That was
Thank
great.
you, Kurt.
Yeah,
Toda rabah.
Things I was telling to Kevin and Jeff before we started is, the other part of it is, any recognition that I've come to on my own without Craig, I still owe to him, because I would not be here. I would not be doing any of this if I had not read Yada Yah.
Yes.
So it's like anything that I've come to on my own, which there've been a handful, not a lot, but
Well, you studied.
Still I would not be doing this had I not read Yada Yah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I say we all stand on the shoulders of a bull.
Yes. You do. I would add, who else has risked his life going back a quarter century to do what he did with Islam, telling the unvarnished truth, also dispelling the myth about this nonsense called radical Islam. There's Islam, there's Muhammad, there's the Hadith, there's Sunnah. No one has done it better, at more cost, at more risk. Then he takes
And
on
more public humiliation.
Mhm.
That's correct. Public humiliation and
Oh, yeah.
taking all those slaps. And he continues to do that. And then he takes on Christianity, questioning Paul. And then he does the Babel series and takes on Judaism. Who else? These foolish femme fatales who have a reservation in Sheol are, as I said yesterday, are anencephalic. They have
Brain dead?
no brains.
No brains. Okay.
Their gray matter is gone. But the shame and tragedy is the number of those that they influence and drag
And
with
brought
them.
down with them. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And that is repulsive, beyond repulsive.
No, it's evil.
It's, yes,
Yeah.
it is evil.
Certainly.
Russia.
Kevin, you got
I
anything?
like calling a spade a spade.
Yeah, I had a couple things.
Okay.
The first thing that come to mind whenever I read your letter was kind of in my mind going back to the thing that kind of started this all off, and the premise that there is this head jerking left to right idea of things always changing here recently, you know? And the first thing in my understanding is that this is Yada's journey, and he's sharing it with us through the books and through the video logs and everything.
Real time.
In real time, yes. And we're just along for that ride, for that journey. This is his journey, right?
Yes.
And he's sharing it with us. And what happened with the books was a book was written, and a year, 2 years would go by. Every Friday you would have, at least in my experience, before the Shattering Myths and all, you know, after the Shattering Myths and all that time. And then you'd have a blog talk radio that would talk about it on a Friday. And then you'd have the whole week to kind of understand that and redo it, you know. And so the insights were coming, but they weren't coming bam, 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 bam. And as the closer that we get to Shabua and then Teruah and then Sukkah, as these things are going to pick up pace. And so if you're someone that can't keep up with today, there's no way that you're going to be able to keep up with the insights and the things that are going to be coming at us tomorrow and the next day and a year from now. So I want to tell folks, get ready, because if this is too much for you now, you're not ready for what's coming next. I mean, Daniel has
Get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
To that point, I'll tell you a little quick story in Shattering Myth shows. I would study. I still had a part-time little art place because I needed to make enough money to be semi-retired. But I in Folsom, and he would tell me what we were going to talk about, and I would study that, these furious notes, and I'd look up stuff in passages, and that would be so I could add some input to the shows. And then about 15 minutes before the show, Terry would call me and she'd say, "He said he's changed it."
Yeah.
But,
Here's the thing I know about being around a bull. You better be light on your feet, clever, quick, have the ability to keep up, because nothing less will suffice.
No, so his brain somehow between that night when he called me, I'm going, ah.
All of a sudden, you're planning on this, you're planning on that, and then he translated something new today. Is I got to share this.
Yeah.
So now that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So you're going, okay, let's go.
Absolutely. As Kevin is saying, the rate of learning and insight in the last 6 to 10 months has been exponential on steroids.
Absolutely.
One of the things that is particularly I find interesting is who gave the original Olivet discourse.
Oh, that's Charlemagne.
Slow-mo.
It was Dowd. And who gave the original Sermon on the Mount?
Oh, I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. Yeah.
That was Shlomo. And who were they talking? Who was he talking about? Who was Shlomo talking about?
Absolutely. Excellent point. Yep.
The Nakar.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Yada has aged pretty well. All right, from Maydad to Crag. I like to call him Crag and he's on fire.
Yeah. Fiery rock. Yeah.
And as you mentioned, Kirk, that how are these femme fatales going to deal with explaining themselves, dealing with Yada and Dowd, and then they got to deal with Leia.
No, they did. Look, they won't have a word to say the Torah witnesses against them.
Mm.
It's not about me, you, them.
It's the Torah.
About the Torah.
Yeah. It's about the Torah. I'm being facetious, but
they will have no rebuttal, none whatsoever. The words will witness against them.
Mm.
And how I've always viewed the whole mission. Yeah, it's not necessarily trying to get people; it's to leave people with no excuse.
Yes.
You know, it's up to them. They're going to decide whether they're going to
Mhm.
follow the truth or not. Our job is
That's
to
right.
give them. Yeah, they can't say they're. Well, how could I have known? Yeah, there's this.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And-
You don't have to. You don't have to believe. You don't have to follow. You don't have to do it. Just don't oppose it. You know, you're better off just yep, that's crazy, and walk away and stay over there and do your own. But trying to oppose it is is not going to end up well for anybody.
Yeah.
The
The
vitriol.
guy that was trying to level off the cart that the bull was carrying with the ark on it, his intentions were good. And yet he still died.
Mm-hmm.
Any impediment of what this man is doing is considered by Yahweh a grave mistake. One you can't come back from.
No.
And that's why maybe they call me nuclear about certain things. And yes, when it comes to Yahweh's words, I am very black or white. This is what it says. I will present the truth. And then I will present it again.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will no longer be polite. It's just how I roll.
Well, this whole group is still that we're talking about is still too damn religious. I mean, I don't come from your guys' background. You guys would have hated me in my younger days because I'd have told you Paul's a liar. How can he say the Torah can't save and then turn around and the other guy tell me that we are not changing a jot or a tittle? I used that argument for years and nobody would ever answer it.
He changed every jot and tittle.
Yeah, exactly. Yahweh doesn't lie.
No.
2 Corinthians tells us what Solomon said. There's going to be an informative foreigner that's going to teach us. And I don't care how you look at it 10 different ways this Sunday, the grammar is specific. It's an individual. I look at all these things logically. I'm not good with the words. I'm not quick and witty like Kevin, but I know what's true and what's right. You guys are right. And it's mathematically and statistically impossible that Craig Wynn isn't the Nacre.
Yes.
I will correct one thing, though. It's 2 Chronicles, not Corinthians.
Sorry, you're right.
It's
I don't know why. Screw it up. No, that would be me.
But
You just brought up a very important point.
Yeah.
Who else brought up the concept of being right is better than being good?
Absolutely, excellent.
Yeah, that's most people say.
and
I'd
you know
like-
what
I'd
I
like to
know
say-
as a Jewish woman, that I know a lot of good Christian women who say, "Bless your heart," and I know what that means, honey.
Down south.
Who clutch their pearls when a Jewish woman walks in the room and she's prettier, smarter, and sexier than she is. They all think she's out to steal their man, like some kind of clip out of a movie. It's so absurd. We don't want your men, first off. Secondly, Yahweh made women beautiful. And if you don't embrace that and act in a loving way towards your relationships, you're not going to have much of a life. And you're going to be pretty sad. And life is painful enough, honey. This whole notion of good Christian women demonizing Jewish women, yeah, I'm over it. Well over it, in fact. I'm disgusted by it. Religion has abused women for centuries.
Yep.
And it has turned them a little wackadoodle. I'm here to tell you it's inappropriate. It's so inappropriate. you will come to find out how inappropriate it is, and how Yahweh's favorite son actually speaks to a woman who's exactly like that. Sort of kind of how I do. More to come. I won't give away the details just yet.
That's the teaser for the end of the show.
Cliffhanger. Woo.
One more concept I just like to mention that was brought up on last night's show is 2 Samuel 6 about this notion of inerrancy, being perfect, etc. It's apparent that Dowd has erred initially and has had correction and come to the right conclusions, then done the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
We grow, we evolve, we learn, and we move on. As
To err
opposed,
is to be human. To be
Yes.
perfect. A good little Christian, a little meek, humble, weak. Blah. That is to be religious.
To err is human, but to be Sadat
That is to be religious.
is divine. That's the one thing that separates, is back to the original, to be Sadak, to be right about
Be right.
nothing else matters when I tell people Mother Teresa is going to end up in Sheol, okay?
Yeah,
That's what I
sure.
mean. It to be Sadak. Dowd in no way was people are going to call him, good. Okay, more errors, more problems in the hairs on his head. He admits it. Okay, but he was Sadak, and that's all that mattered.
Well, in order to be right, you have to be willing to admit when you're wrong.
Absolutely.
And that's
Exactly.
and that's
Room
Greg
for
is
learning.
willing to admit that every turn.
and that
Every time
that
he learns
also
something
takes
new that changes
character.
it, go there with the evidence.
That takes character,
Well, that's easy to see if you're an intellectual.
Courage.
because logic rules. Yeah.
boldness,
I'm sorry.
and integrity.
Let me
A
tell
little
something.
chutzpah helps.
There's at least one more concept we ought to chat about just for a second. Is he brought it up last night, and I remember the first time I heard it, I thought, wow, that's really profound. It's Yahweh grows. He does, and he's omnipotent and omnipresent, and he doesn't want to be. Who would want to? You become like Buddha's approach to life. If you follow his eightfold plan, you will be one with the universe and therefore ultimate nothingness. Well, that's inspiring.
I want to be nothing.
So,
Rah. It's so chic.
yeah, so,
People are stupid.
but we grow. And Yahweh grows. He wants to know. I mean, that's going to make you the most fun person in the room when we get to go traveling everywhere and doing things. And we also get to continue working. I've worked all since I was 16. I mean, as a job, full-time jobs since I was 16. I like working. I like accomplishing whatever. It may not appreciate it about somebody else may not appreciate what I do, but I love doing it. The jobs and so forth, and we get to continue, even as spiritual beings, or perhaps in some type of body that we can create. But we get to teach. We get to continue. Best times I had was teaching. It may be hard, but the smiles on the faces, people learn things, and they go, and the aha moment. So
It takes a special kind of person to be a teacher.
yeah, but I enjoyed it, and and
those who do say they really enjoy it.
Yeah. So what would y'all like to? Shall we wrap this up now, or y'all want to continue on? Or I'm disposed.
I think we should wrap it up.
Okay. Well, let me say this: how much I appreciate y'all being here, so I don't stumble over everything. Y'all could bail me out.
You did great.
You did good, Kirk.
Great. Absolutely.
You did good, kiddo.
Kudos to you, brother.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jeff, Kevin, and Miss Leah. I appreciate you very much. And thank y'all for allowing me to do this. And I hope it hits somebody. All this people will start to appreciate him as who he really is. I mean, he's the man that showed her let's get on board and keep on working with him and until we get there.
I told
Well,
him
I'm
this.
his ride or die, so.
Yeah, there you go.
Or actually, ride or never die. That's more like it.
L'chaim.
Told him this 24 and a half years ago, or 23 years ago, and I maintain it today. Craig Wen is the most philo-Shemitic,
Yeah.
not Semitic. He's the most philo-Shemitic
Yeah.
individual on the planet at present. So those fecal-faced fools who say otherwise, take a hike.
Adios, amigos.
Adios. Shabbat shalom. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your Shabbat. I know it's still early here, so y'all are kind of getting close to the sundown, but I appreciate being with you. I very much do. Thank you.
Shabbat
Shalom.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom.